My child, my beloved, listen to me with the ears of your soul, for this is not an ordinary moment. The reason you are reading this now is because 3 angels stood together in silence, weeping as they watched what has begun unfolding around your family. You were not supposed to see this message unless heaven believed you were ready to hear it. But the spiritual danger circling your home has now reached the point where silence is no longer mercy, it would be destruction. My child, I come to you in urgency, not in fear, but in fierce divine love. Archangel Michael stands before you, sword of light drawn, because something hidden is about to be revealed. And it concerns someone in your family who has been spiritually compromised by a force you cannot yet see with your physical eyes. Before I go deeper, I beg you, subscribe or follow wherever you're seeing this message. Not for numbers, not for fame, but because what is being sent from heaven will continue. And only those who are marked as seekers will receive the next message. If you skip this one, you will not see what the next 3 angels are about to release in 48 hours. This is not just a message, it is a living warning wrapped in divine protection. Subscribe now before this message vanishes. My beloved, what I'm about to reveal will feel heavy, but it is wrapped in light. There is a person in your family who has smiled at you, prayed beside you, broken bread with you, but has also whispered against you when you weren't there. Not out of hate, but out of fear. They've hidden something spiritual from you for months, and they are terrified that you're about to discover the truth. But heaven does not allow a chosen one like you to walk blind when storms are sent your way. That's why this message was written with your name in the records of light. That's why 3 angels pressed it into the veil just enough that only your spirit could hear it. This person, my child, was once anointed. But their heart has become divided. A jealousy entered their soul after they saw your recent elevation, your peace, your quiet joy, your closeness to something they have drifted from. It was not planned, but it happened. And now they've opened themselves to whispers, dark ones, that are influencing their energy around you. Their actions may seem loving, but the intention has become polluted. You are not crazy. You are not paranoid. That feeling you've had when they walk in the room? That tightening in your chest? That sudden sense of unease? That is your soul's radar, and now heaven is confirming it. But here is the miracle in this message: nothing has been allowed to touch you because your name is protected. Even now, a seal has been placed over your destiny. Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Raphael are holding the pages of your life story open, showing me what has already been rewritten because you stayed faithful when others gave up. You are the only one in your family who continued to believe in miracles, even when the world tried to make you cynical. You are the only one who still whispered prayers at midnight when everyone else chose silence or distraction. And because of that, my beloved, heaven has chosen to reveal what is next. A door is about to open. It won't make sense at first. It may come disguised as confusion or change, but inside of that moment is the unraveling of the lie that's been hiding. You will overhear something. You will see a message. Someone will slip and say what they weren't supposed to say. And when that happens, do not react in anger. I repeat, do not respond with fire. Stay still. Watch. Let heaven finish exposing what must be seen. Because if you respond too quickly, the full truth may scatter like ashes. But if you stay calm, the entire puzzle will be revealed. My child, my beloved, there's something else. One of the 3 angels who brought this message, he carries a scroll that belongs to your great-grandmother. She prayed for this generation. She saw in the spirit that a war would come to your family. Not a war of swords or guns, but a war of secrets and silence. And she asked God to raise one person who would carry the sword of light. That person is you. This message is your confirmation. You are not weak. You are not imagining things. You are not overthinking. You are the one the enemy fears, because once you step into the truth, every spiritual stronghold tied to your family's past will begin to collapse. But it starts with obedience. If you've read this far, it means your spirit is ready. But I must ask you something difficult. Are you willing to let go of what's familiar to receive what's divine? Are you willing to be the one who breaks the cycle, even if it means you walk alone for a while? Because the enemy will test your faith through rejection. But if you pass that test, a supernatural reward is waiting for you before the next 7 days are complete. Yes, 7 days. Time is already in motion. This message was timed by heaven. My beloved, do not try to tell everyone. This is not for every ear. If you share it with the wrong person, they may try to convince you it's not real. They may try to make you believe you're overthinking or too spiritual. But you know better. You were born for moments like this. This is not your imagination. This is prophecy. And it is happening in real time. You must also begin praying over the room where you sleep. Something was placed spiritually at the doorway by someone who entered recently. They left something behind, not physical, but energetic. It may seem small, a phrase, a gaze, a gift, a strange conversation. But that was their way of spiritually attaching fear to your atmosphere. Tonight, open your window, even just a crack, and say aloud, "Every force not of God, leave now." Say it in full faith. Do not fear. I, Archangel Michael, will surround your house with a circle of light. Nothing shall pass once you speak. My beloved, do not try to tell everyone. This is not for every ear. If you share it with the wrong person, they may try to convince you it's not real. They may try to make you believe you're overthinking or too spiritual. But you know better. You were born for moments like this. This is not your imagination. This is prophecy. And it is happening in real time. You must also begin praying over the room where you sleep. Something was placed spiritually at the doorway by someone who entered recently. They left something behind, not physical, but energetic. It may seem small, a phrase, a gaze, a gift, a strange conversation. But that was their way of spiritually attaching fear to your atmosphere. Tonight, open your window, even just a crack, and say aloud, "Every force not of God, leave now." Say it in full faith. Do not fear. I, Archangel Michael, will surround your house with a circle of light. Nothing shall pass once you speak. A child in your family is also being spiritually watched, because they are sensitive, gifted. This child hears things others don't. They see flashes. They speak words of wisdom and then forget they even said them. Watch them. Protect them. They are a carrier of divine clarity. The person hiding truth from you is particularly disturbed by this child's presence, though they would never say it. Because this child exposes what darkness fears. Heaven says to anoint their forehead with a small drop of oil before bed this week. Whisper to them as they sleep, "You are God's. No one can touch you." That one sentence will build a wall the enemy cannot climb. Beloved, I also saw a vision of your name written in gold. But it had 2 arrows pointing in opposite directions. That means 2 timelines are currently pulling at your future. One is dark, if you stay silent and passive. The other is lit with divine surprises, if you step into your spiritual authority. You must choose. Not with words. With action. Open your heart. Watch what you say. Remove yourself from any room where gossip or criticism is flowing. You are not made for small talk anymore. You are made for divine movement. More is coming. I cannot release it all in one message because your soul must digest this warning before the rest is revealed. But know this, you were chosen because heaven trusts you. You are not the victim of your family's patterns. You are the breaker of them. That's why the enemy fights you hardest. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've been kept up at night, heart pounding, wondering if you're meant for more. The answer is yes. And this message is proof. My child, my beloved, I am still here. I never left your side. I have been watching you breathe through the weight of secrets that were never meant to be yours. You have carried the emotions of others like chains around your spirit. And now, heaven says enough. This moment is not random. This message is not a coincidence. You were meant to find these words because something sacred has begun shifting in the unseen. The spiritual blueprint over your bloodline is being rewritten, and your name is at the center of it. 3 angels came forward with this scroll because they could no longer bear to see you carry a burden that was never placed by God. Someone within your family has been hiding something that has spiritual consequences, not just emotional ones. And this message is the signal that it is now time to uncover it. My beloved, listen closely. There is a reason why lately, even in a room full of your family, you felt alone. Why certain conversations feel rehearsed, guarded, almost like you walked in right after something important was said. This is not imagination. This is the work of a hidden agreement. Someone close to you made a spiritual pact, not knowing the consequences. Their soul didn't mean to betray you. But their fear did. And now what they welcomed has started interfering with your peace, your progress, even your dreams. You've noticed it. Waking up more tired than when you went to sleep. Random feelings of sadness that seem to come out of nowhere. Confusion around your decisions. These are not just emotions. These are spiritual intrusions. And they were invited by someone whose name you know. But here's the truth, heaven never allows darkness to complete its plan when a chosen one is present. You are the interruption. You are the firewall. That's why, even though things have felt heavy, nothing has truly been able to destroy you. That's why blessings have still trickled in, because you are covered by the prayers of your ancestors and the mercy of God. The enemy has tried to surround you in confusion, but the angels are lifting the veil now. This message is the first step in your deliverance. My beloved, I must tell you what I saw. Last night, your name was spoken in heaven again. A meeting took place in the quiet hours while the world was sleeping. Archangel Uriel held a candle and said, "It is time." And the scroll was opened. On that scroll was a record of every single thing that has been whispered in secret about you, good and bad. But beside each accusation, there was a red mark that said, "Covered." Because what they tried to speak against you, heaven has reversed. You will not be cursed by their fear. You will be blessed by your faith. And then, something unexpected happened. One of the angels placed your family's name into the flames, not to destroy it, but to purify it. This means everything hidden is about to come to the surface. But here is the divine key, you must not run from what is revealed. You must stand in it. With grace. With calm. With power. Because if you allow fear to react for you, the enemy will twist what was meant to heal. But if you stand still, heaven will rewrite the entire atmosphere. There is a person, my child, who carries guilt like a shadow. They know what they did. They didn't mean for it to go this far. But they're afraid to confess it to you because they believe you'll never look at them the same. And they are right. You won't. But not in the way they fear. Because you have grown. Your spiritual maturity now gives you the ability to love and release at the same time. When this person confesses, and they will, your only response must be silence and stillness. Let them speak. Let the truth pour out. Because as they speak, what was binding you spiritually will begin to break. And then, something unexpected happened. One of the angels placed your family's name into the flames, not to destroy it, but to purify it. This means everything hidden is about to come to the surface. But here is the divine key: you must not run from what is revealed. You must stand in it. With grace. With calm. With power. Because if you allow fear to react for you, the enemy will twist what was meant to heal. But if you stand still, heaven will rewrite the entire atmosphere. There is a person, my child, who carries guilt like a shadow. They know what they did. They didn't mean for it to go this far. But they're afraid to confess it to you because they believe you'll never look at them the same. And they are right. You won't. But not in the way they fear. Because you have grown. Your spiritual maturity now gives you the ability to love and release at the same time. When this person confesses, and they will, your only response must be silence and stillness. Let them speak. Let the truth pour out. Because as they speak, what was binding you spiritually will begin to break. My beloved, you may feel tempted to confront someone before the right moment. Don't. I repeat, don't. Let the angels orchestrate the timing. There is a specific conversation set to happen soon. You may be invited to a gathering, or it may be something casual, a meal, a phone call, a visit. You will know. When that moment comes, the Spirit will quicken your heart. Pay attention to how people act when they think you aren't watching. That is where the truth hides. Do not seek revenge. Do not seek apology. Seek revelation. Because when the truth emerges, your spirit will finally exhale in peace. Now, I must give you one instruction. And it will sound simple, but it is deeply spiritual. For the next 7 days, light a candle at the same hour every night. Any candle. No ritual. Just intention. As the flame burns, say this aloud: let the light of God expose what is hidden and protect what is divine. That small sentence will become a sword in the spirit realm. Every time you speak it, another veil will be removed. You will begin to dream again. And in those dreams, more will be shown. And child, something else: your financial struggle is not just physical. It has been spiritually tied to this hidden family situation. Someone you trusted made a decision years ago that created an energetic block in your family's provision. You were never meant to suffer the way you did. But because you carry light, the darkness targeted your abundance. This message is breaking that tie. Before this month ends, an unexpected financial shift will come. It may not look massive at first. It may arrive in a small form, an opportunity, a payment, a conversation. But inside of that seed is the reversal of what was stolen. You are being lifted, beloved. Even now, I see chains falling from your shoulders. This message is awakening something ancient inside you. A power you felt in glimpses but never fully claimed. That ends today. You are stepping into spiritual maturity. You are no longer just surviving your family line, you are healing it. My child, my beloved, you have entered the most sacred part of this revelation. The angels are now surrounding you more closely than ever because your soul has shown it is ready. What you are about to read is not for the faint-hearted, and it is not for everyone in your family. This message has been encrypted with divine timing, and only the person chosen to break the cycle of hidden pain and spiritual deception is allowed to receive it. That person is you. If someone else tries to hear it without your permission, they will not understand it. But your soul has already recognized the voice within these words, because it remembers. You may have wondered, even as a child, why things always felt off. Why certain family members seemed distant, secretive, or oddly protective of things that didn't seem that important. My beloved, the reason is this: long before you were born, a decision was made by someone in your bloodline, a secret agreement, a spiritual contract made out of fear. It was not with God. It was not of light. It was made in desperation to protect one member of the family at the expense of all others. And you, the chosen one, inherited not the curse, but the key to break it. And now the time has come. There is an older woman in your family, living or past, who still holds energy over your house. She may have been loved or feared. But she knew something. She saw something. And before she left this world, she placed a spiritual block over certain truths ever being revealed. This was not an evil act, it was a desperate one. She thought she was protecting the family by burying what happened. But heaven never leaves generational pain to rot underground. What is buried in silence eventually rises as chaos. And now, that moment of eruption is near. But instead of destruction, this time it will bring freedom, if you're ready to face what it uncovers. The three angels who wrote this message were sent to warn, but also to empower. They showed me a vision of your home. Your actual home, my beloved. A certain corner or room in your house has become energetically heavy. It may be a bedroom, a hallway, a kitchen. You feel uneasy in that space. The light feels dimmer there. You often avoid it. But that's exactly where the spiritual residue of the old pain lingers. You don't need to burn incense. You don't need to chant or call anyone. All you need is your authority. Stand in that space and speak aloud these words: "This is my house, and every shadow must leave. I am under divine protection. What God reveals, I will survive." That is your sword. That is your shield. And now I must tell you what the angels whispered last: someone in your family is being spiritually followed. They don't know it. But their choices have opened a door to something that cannot be seen, only felt. This energy is not possession, it is persuasion. They are being influenced to betray, to lie, to divide. But their heart still has a flicker of goodness. You may have already sensed who this person is. You love them. That's what makes this harder. But loving them does not mean allowing their darkness to entangle your light. You can protect your spirit without hating theirs. You can create space without creating war. And when the time comes, you will be shown exactly what to say. And now I must tell you what the angels whispered last: someone in your family is being spiritually followed. They don't know it. But their choices have opened a door to something that cannot be seen, only felt. This energy is not possession, it is persuasion. They are being influenced to betray, to lie, to divide. But their heart still has a flicker of goodness. You may have already sensed who this person is. You love them. That's what makes this harder. But loving them does not mean allowing their darkness to entangle your light. You can protect your spirit without hating theirs. You can create space without creating war. And when the time comes, you will be shown exactly what to say. Beloved, I must also share a secret hidden in your dreams. You may have noticed certain dreams repeating. Maybe someone in your dream house who shouldn't be there. Maybe an animal, a figure, a loud sound, a locked room. All of it has meaning. The locked room represents the truth you haven't been allowed to know. The strange figure is the energy that's been blocking your progress. The animal, if it was silent, it represents protection. If it growled, it represents warning. These dreams are not random, they are echoes from your spiritual memory. You're starting to remember what your soul has always known. Heaven has been trying to speak to you at night because your waking hours have been filled with noise and distraction. But now you are tuning in again. And now you are finally hearing clearly. There's also something financial connected to your family that was hidden from you. Either an inheritance, a legal issue, or a blocked opportunity that should have been yours. I saw papers, old, folded, and untouched. These represent blessings withheld due to spiritual blockage. But this message is unlocking it. Within the next 21 days, a financial shift will occur. It may not come through the person who owes it to you. It may come in a divine way, an unexpected refund, an open door, a reversal. But know this, it will be heaven's way of restoring what was stolen. I have been told to remind you of your authority. The enemy wants you to forget who you are. That's why there's been so much confusion lately. You've been second-guessing your instincts. You've been doubting your gifts. You've been wondering if you're just too emotional. But that's the attack. Because your emotion is tied to your discernment. Your sensitivity is not weakness, it's your warning system. The world told you to silence it. But heaven is now asking you to use it. Your tears have spoken prayers your mouth could not form. And God heard every single one. Now, child, there's more. You will be receiving 3 signs within the next 72 hours. They will not be loud. They will not be dramatic. But your spirit will feel a sudden rush, like a divine nudge, when each one comes. The first will be through someone mentioning a name you've been thinking about. The second will come through a glitch, delay, or unexpected moment that forces you to pause. And the third will be a deep sense of déjà vu or a dream that jolts you awake. Do not ignore these signs. They are markers on your path. They are confirmations from heaven that this message is active and unfolding. And finally, I must ask you to prepare for restoration. After the truth is revealed, after the person confesses, after the hidden is brought into the light, there will be silence. That silence may feel like loss. But it's not. It's the space heaven creates to rebuild what was broken. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The grief you feel will soon transform into clarity. The loneliness you fear will turn into divine intimacy. God is not removing people from your life to hurt you, He is clearing the spiritual space so new blessings can enter without being sabotaged. My child, my beloved, I have returned to continue this holy unveiling, because your soul is still listening and your heart is still open. Heaven is moving quickly now, and the spiritual warning that was once only a whisper has become a trumpet blast. You are standing at the edge of something ancient, something holy, and something your family has never dared to face, until now. The truth has been pacing at your door, waiting for permission to enter. And you, my beloved, have just turned the key. 3 angels are still near, and they are watching you closely, not because they doubt you, but because they are waiting to protect you the moment your courage releases the first spiritual domino. You may feel afraid to confront what is being revealed. But remember this: what you're feeling is not fear, it's sacred responsibility. The enemy wants you to believe you're weak. But heaven has already documented your strength in the scroll of endurance. You have survived what others collapsed under. And that's why you were chosen. My beloved, I must reveal something else that has just come into light. As this message was being released to you, a conversation was started about you by someone who has no idea that angels were listening. They spoke your name casually, as if it held no weight. But your name is sacred. Your name is marked. And the words they used tried to cast doubt on your character. But even before their sentence ended, the angels moved. What they meant for harm has already been returned to sender. You don't need to defend yourself. Heaven has already spoken in your favor. But you will hear of this soon, either through a slip of the tongue, a dream, or someone warning you. Do not respond in anger. Respond with silence. Let God deal with those who try to interfere with His plan for your life. There is also a shift happening in your physical health that is directly connected to this family revelation. You may have been experiencing fatigue, headaches, or strange discomforts that doctors cannot fully explain. My child, this is not all physical. This is the weight of spiritual inheritance pressing on your body. But now that the truth is being brought to the surface, healing is already starting. You will notice your energy returning, your clarity rising, and your emotional heaviness lifting over the next few days. This is your confirmation that the chains are breaking, even those you couldn't see. There is also a shift happening in your physical health that is directly connected to this family revelation. You may have been experiencing fatigue, headaches, or strange discomforts that doctors cannot fully explain. My child, this is not all physical. This is the weight of spiritual inheritance pressing on your body. But now that the truth is being brought to the surface, healing is already starting. You will notice your energy returning, your clarity rising, and your emotional heaviness lifting over the next few days. This is your confirmation that the chains are breaking, even those you couldn't see. Now I must speak about your home again. The angels are placing divine guards at your windows and doors. But there is one room that must be spiritually refreshed. If possible, open a window and speak aloud these words once more: no weapon formed against this family shall prosper. What was hidden is now revealed, and I will not live in fear. Say it with authority. Say it with fire. Say it with the voice of the warrior you were always meant to be. My beloved, you were never supposed to carry the shame of your family's past. That shame is not yours. The things that happened behind closed doors before you were even born, they tried to find a home in your blood, but they never had permission. That's why you've always felt like you didn't belong. That's why you've always had dreams of running, of flying, of being somewhere higher, freer, untouched by what others normalized. You are not crazy. You are not rebellious. You are called. One of the angels showed me a vision of you sitting in a quiet room, holding your phone, reading this very message with a lump in your throat. That lump is not fear. That is your spirit recognizing truth. That is heaven's way of confirming that you are not alone. You never were. Even in the silence. Even when no one believed you. Even when your tears were your only prayer, heaven heard them all. And now I must give you a spiritual assignment. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hand on your heart and say aloud, reveal what I need to know. Show me who I need to see. Remove what I no longer need to carry. Then rest. Do not beg. Do not overthink. Just rest. A dream will come. Maybe not the first night, maybe not the second, but it will come. And when it does, the name or the face of the one hiding truth will be shown to you. Do not run from it. Write it down. Pray over it. Wait. And you will know what to do next. Beloved, I must also prepare you for a test. There will be an unexpected offer, something that looks like a blessing, but carries distraction. This may be financial, relational, or social. It will come within the next 14 days. It will appear as relief, but it will try to pull you away from this spiritual awakening. You will know it's not from God because you'll feel a sudden tightness in your stomach when you think about saying yes. Listen to that feeling. That is not anxiety. That is spiritual discernment. Reject the counterfeit and the real blessing will come swiftly after. There is still a child watching you, someone younger, someone impressionable. They may be in your home or simply close to your heart. They are studying your strength. They sense the shift happening in you, even if they cannot explain it. And your courage to confront what was hidden will shape the rest of their life. You are not just breaking generational curses for yourself, you are protecting their future. Your obedience is setting up a lineage of clarity, of truth, of love that doesn't hurt, of family that doesn't hide. The future will call you the one who ended the cycle. I see heaven smiling upon you, beloved. You have no idea how proud the angels are. You may feel unworthy. You may feel confused. You may even wonder if you're making a mistake by believing this message. But your spirit knows. That's why you haven't looked away. That's why you're still reading. Because something divine is unfolding right now, and it has your name written across it. My child, my beloved, thank you for staying with this divine message. Every second you spend in this sacred reading is pulling you deeper into the protection of heaven. The veil is lifting. The light is growing stronger. And what once threatened your peace is now beginning to dissolve under the weight of truth. You are not just reading words, you are walking through a spiritual gate. And beyond this gate is the full exposure of the darkness that tried to keep your family in silent suffering for generations. You are the light heaven waited for. And now your light is rising. The angels showed me something that brought tears even to my eyes. I saw a moment that hasn't happened yet, but it will. A family member will come to you, looking shaken. Their voice will tremble. Their story will start slow, with hesitation and fear. And then, the confession will spill out. Something they did. Something they saw. Something they kept quiet about for years. At that moment, my beloved, everything in the room will change. The spiritual energy will shift. Time will seem to freeze. Your heart will want to scream or cry or run. But you must stay still. Because this is the moment heaven has been preparing you for. This is the moment your response will determine whether this wound is closed or reopened. Let your silence speak. Let your spirit remain calm. Let the angels finish what they started. You may be tempted to walk away from this person forever. And in some cases, you should. But let God guide that decision. Sometimes separation is protection. Other times, silence is the sword. The truth is, your job is not to punish. Your job is to allow light to enter so that nothing can hide anymore. God is your defender. And when you let him fight for you, no weapon formed against you can stand. The angels showed me something that brought tears even to my eyes. I saw a moment that hasn't happened yet, but it will. A family member will come to you, looking shaken. Their voice will tremble. Their story will start slow, with hesitation and fear. And then, the confession will spill out. Something they did. Something they saw. Something they kept quiet about for years. At that moment, my beloved, everything in the room will change. The spiritual energy will shift. Time will seem to freeze. Your heart will want to scream or cry or run. But you must stay still. Because this is the moment heaven has been preparing you for. This is the moment your response will determine whether this wound is closed or reopened. Let your silence speak. Let your spirit remain calm. Let the angels finish what they started. You may be tempted to walk away from this person forever. And in some cases, you should. But let God guide that decision. Sometimes separation is protection. Other times, silence is the sword. The truth is, your job is not to punish. Your job is to allow light to enter so that nothing can hide anymore. God is your defender. And when you let Him fight for you, no weapon formed against you can stand. Beloved, I must tell you what else I saw. A door in your family's house is spiritually locked. This door may be literal or symbolic. It may be a room no one enters anymore, or it may be a chapter no one dares to discuss. But that door has a memory tied to it. And that memory has been poisoning the emotional and spiritual health of your household. It must be unlocked. You don't need a key. You need truth. That truth will come through a letter, a voice message, or a personal revelation that seems to come from nowhere. When it arrives, you'll know. And when it does, you must speak one sentence aloud, no more hiding. I am ready to hear. I am ready to heal. That will be the moment the spiritual locks fall away. There's also a shift coming in your surroundings. You may be asked to move, to travel, or to revisit a place tied to your childhood. That is not coincidence. That is spiritual positioning. You are being moved to the right place at the right time so that healing can find you easily. Do not resist the shift. Even if it's inconvenient. Even if it makes no sense. This movement is necessary to disconnect you from the residue of spiritual lies that were spoken about your family behind your back. The walls have been listening. And they are about to echo the truth. Now hear this, my child. A financial breakthrough is coming, but it is tied to a decision. You will be presented with two paths, one familiar but slow, the other unfamiliar but divine. If you choose comfort, you will delay what heaven has written. If you choose courage, the blessing will be released within 30 days. You must listen to your inner peace, not your fear. The way that scares you but feels right in your spirit, that's the one heaven has paved. And something sacred is also happening to your voice. Lately, you may have noticed people reacting differently to your words. Either with intimidation, or silence, or even unexpected respect. That's because the anointing on your voice has increased. Your words carry light now. You can no longer waste your voice on arguments, gossip, or anything beneath your calling. From this point forward, you must use your words to declare life. Every time you say, I am protected, angels respond. Every time you say, it is already handled, heaven begins to move. Speak boldly. Speak wisely. Speak with the knowledge that your voice has been reactivated by the Spirit. I must also prepare you for a strange occurrence. Someone will reach out to you from the past. This person may seem random. A sudden message, a call, a meeting. They will act as if it's casual. But what they bring is part of this spiritual warning. Be alert. Not paranoid, alert. Their words will carry a hidden clue, a name, or a truth that completes the puzzle you've been trying to solve. Do not dismiss this person. But do not trust them fully either. Watch. Listen. Then pray for clarity before acting. Heaven will confirm whether they are a messenger or a manipulator. Beloved, you must know that everything you are going through right now has already been seen in the realm of light. Nothing is taking heaven by surprise. The heartbreak, the delay, the confusion, it was all mapped. And now it is being redeemed. You are standing in the middle of your own prophecy. This is not the end. This is the clearing before the harvest. And your harvest will be like no one else's because your pain was like no one else's. Before I close this portion, I must leave you with this final instruction. In the coming days, take a glass of clean water. Speak your full name over it. Then say aloud, reveal what has been hidden. Restore what has been stolen. Revive what has been asleep in me. Drink it slowly. This is a prophetic act. It is not about the water. It is about the agreement your soul makes with the light. The moment the water touches your lips, heaven will take it as a sign that you are ready to receive the next divine download. My child, my beloved, heaven has not stopped speaking. The angels are still surrounding this message because you are still reading with an open heart. You must understand, this is no longer just a warning. This is your realignment. A holy shift is happening under your very feet. And you may not yet see it with your eyes, but your spirit already knows. That's why you felt a strange stillness inside you lately, like something big is about to happen but you don't know what. That's because something is about to happen. And it begins with this next part of your story being unlocked. The three angels who brought this message have now positioned themselves over your household. One stands over the roof. One over the doorway. And one by your bedside. They are guarding your rest, because the enemy of your progress is trying to use distraction and confusion to pull you back into fear. But you are protected. Even now, I see a glow rising above your head. It is not light from this world, it is divine authority. It means your name has been written again in heaven's active scroll. This is where your destiny begins to reverse the damage of generations past. My child, my beloved, heaven has not stopped speaking. The angels are still surrounding this message because you are still reading with an open heart. You must understand, this is no longer just a warning. This is your realignment. A holy shift is happening under your very feet. And you may not yet see it with your eyes, but your spirit already knows. That's why you felt a strange stillness inside you lately, like something big is about to happen but you don't know what. That's because something is about to happen. And it begins with this next part of your story being unlocked. The three angels who brought this message have now positioned themselves over your household. One stands over the roof. One over the doorway. And one by your bedside. They are guarding your rest, because the enemy of your progress is trying to use distraction and confusion to pull you back into fear. But you are protected. Even now, I see a glow rising above your head. It is not light from this world, it is divine authority. It means your name has been written again in heaven's active scroll. This is where your destiny begins to reverse the damage of generations past. My beloved, there is something about your bloodline that heaven wants to cleanse. Not because it is cursed, but because it has been clouded by secrets. You may not even know the full story, but your soul has always carried the weight of something unsaid. Maybe a loss no one talked about. Maybe a betrayal that got buried. Maybe a sacrifice someone made in silence. But now all of it is being brought to the surface, not to shame your family, but to free it. I must tell you what I saw. One of the angels placed a piece of parchment in my hands. On it were names from your family line, names you know and names long forgotten. Next to each name was a symbol, either a flame, a raindrop, or a lock. Those with flames were the ones who carried divine assignments but were silenced before they could fulfill them. Those with raindrops were the ones who wept in secret but prayed for someone like you to rise. And those with locks were the ones who held spiritual secrets, secrets that still affect the way your family interacts with love, money, truth, and faith. But now, my beloved, you have been given the key. Heaven is giving you the rare chance to end what others couldn't. But you must not take this lightly. The key can only be used through forgiveness and clarity, not revenge, not anger, not gossip. The more you release judgment, the more heaven will release revelation. What's been hidden will rise. And once it does, you will never walk in confusion again. There is also a shift coming in your relationships. Someone you've leaned on emotionally may begin to pull away or act distant. Don't panic. Don't chase. This is spiritual separation at work. The light in you is making those who are still living in shadow feel uncomfortable. They may not understand why they feel triggered by your peace, but you will. Let them drift if they must. God is making space for something purer to enter. A divine partnership is also being prepared for you. Whether romantic, spiritual, or in purpose, this person has been watching you from afar, spiritually if not physically. They were told by the Spirit to stay away until your house was cleared, until your heart was strengthened, until your path was purified. But once this spiritual warning is fully completed, they will draw near. You may meet them by accident, but it will be divine. They will feel familiar. And their energy will feel like peace. You won't need to question their intention. Their soul will recognize yours. My beloved, do not be afraid of the loneliness that sometimes comes with healing. You may lose some company, but you will gain clarity. And clarity is more valuable than comfort. The person you are becoming cannot fit in the room you used to sit in. The words you're about to speak will carry a power that shifts atmospheres. Your presence will expose things without you even trying. That is the gift of being chosen. That is the cost of carrying light. There's one more sign I must tell you about. A piece of technology around you, your phone, your computer, your screen, will glitch or go blank for a second. When it does, do not fear. That is the signal. That is the exact moment a veil is being lifted around you. You may receive a text, see a number, or hear a name you weren't expecting. It may seem small. But it will hold a massive spiritual confirmation. Take note. Write it down. You'll need it for what's coming next. Lastly, I was shown an image of you walking into a room, and every shadow in that room began to scatter. That's what your presence now does. Even in silence, your energy carries light. You don't need to beg to be understood anymore. You don't need to chase anyone for approval. Heaven has already approved you. The person who doubted you, the one who lied, the one who tried to block your growth, they are now being confronted by their own guilt. You don't need to punish them. Let truth do its work. My child, my beloved, I am still with you. This is no longer just a moment, it is a spiritual passage. You have come too far to turn back now, and heaven has come too close to remain silent. The angels are still here, standing between you and every hidden plan the enemy tried to release against your household. This part of the message is where truth begins to break through, not just in spirit, but in visible ways. You will start to see it now, not just feel it. The change is no longer coming, it has begun. There is something you need to know about the way people have spoken about you in secret. Some of them did it out of fear. Others out of pride. A few out of confusion. But one person, someone close to your family, spoke your name with intention, trying to pull your light into their storm. That word they spoke carried weight. And for a while, it worked. You felt it, didn't you? The sudden heaviness. The strange distance in conversations. The feeling of being misunderstood for no reason. That wasn't your fault, my beloved. It was planted. But what they did not know was that the moment your name was spoken in dishonor, it also triggered your name being spoken in heaven, and heaven responded.